Alright, hello everyone. I am Zilo. I'm going to be your commentator for this run of Metal Slug 4 by Yakata. I want to quickly preface this that I am not a runner of any Metal Slug games. I'm just a very big casual fan. I love this whole series. Metal Slug is a great run and gun series developed by SNK, and we've got quite a few main games and a couple of extra side games as well. And 4 is not the most well liked overall, but it has a lot of cool things, and this run's really fun, so you're in for a good treat here. The category for this is going to be arcade medium. So you can see that level 4 right there on screen. This would be like the operator settings in the actual arcade. Level 4 is the default, so we'll just be running with that. And I believe Yakata is also going to be running under 1cc rules, which is a 1 credit clear. You're given 3 lives, and we're going to try and finish the game with only those 3 lives, so we can't death abuse for using continues to get extra grenades and such. So we're going to try and stick to just those 3 lives. But if needed, we do have credits for backups, since it is a marathon, and this is a pretty tough game. Plot for the game is pretty typical. General Morden, the usual antagonist of the series, mysteriously is alive after the events of previous games, and we're going to go investigate that. It's amazing, this pretty much all the early games in the series ran on the Neo Geo hardware up through at least 5, I believe, probably up to 6. This series is known for its excellent animation sprite work. Definitely some of the best sprite work of running guns. We'll be playing with Nadia here. I think Nadia's melee attack is slightly faster than the others due to using the taser for some of the animations, and I think that would really be the only reason we pick Nadia. The other characters. As far as physics go in Metal Slug games, they're very floaty, and you actually get a speed boost when you jump, so we're going to try and jump from places. Just jump as often as possible and maintain that extra speed. We already picked up a double machine gun. This is the only new weapon added in 4 compared to previous games, and it's quite good. It's very ammo efficient compared to the normal machine gun, and still very powerful. We'll be running with this for most of the first mission. We also did pick up some bombs. Bombs are a very, very good source of DPS. We want to try and use those for bosses or otherwise tough enemies like tanks. Swapping off to a rocket launcher here. Rocket launcher is not particularly powerful, but the explosions can do splash damage to enemies around the target, and they're also good at breaking shields. The first mission is pretty simple. This game actually does have branching paths like Metal Slug 3, but there's fewer of them. We took this bottom waterway route because the top route actually has a long bike sequence that we'd want to avoid. So we can just get straight to the boss after the waterway. So first boss is just the blimp of doom. It's pretty simple with both rocket launcher and extra bombs we have. Or we'll get to see it again later in the game, but that's the first boss down. Pretty easy fight. It's also notable that this is unfortunately the first game that Eri and Tarma are not playable characters ever since they were introduced, and I know a lot of fans were sad about that. Alright, mission 2 introduces a couple of extra vehicles here. We're going to skip that Bradley rocket launcher right there. The animation for getting in, turning around, and activating the Vulcan cannon is very slow on top of its very slow movement speed. And we get a double machine gun right off the bat, which makes this a lot better to just run on foot while we have some firepower available. Vehicles do help in some places since they do provide extra protection, since this is a typical run and gun where you just die in one hit. And dying resets your bomb count back to 10, and you lose whatever weapons you have. But we don't really use vehicles a whole lot in this run. Speaking of weapons, ammo conservation, you want to conserve sometimes, and you want to use up all your weapons sometimes. So if you pick up a brand new weapon, you get a full refill of whatever ammo would be associated with that. But if you pick up a weapon that you already have, you only get a fraction of the ammo. So right there, you got to used up all his machine gun already, and then you could get a free 200 bullets instead of only like 150 if you were to pick it up if he still had machine gun left over. So we can use those extra bullets for a bit, and then we can grab this enemy chaser, which isn't super powerful, but the homing missiles are pretty nice, especially for these planes here. So we don't have to worry about them going off screen, because it's very difficult to aim with the machine gun. You can only aim in the cardinal directions, and the only way to aim diagonally is just kind of alternate between up and side, so you just kind of spray the bullets. So we're going to double up on the tanks right here. Now that they're overlapping, we can get extra damage using the chaser and the bombs. So really, really neat strat. Another double machine gun for later down the road. It's pretty critical that we have enough bombs for the boss fight coming up. We need both that and the metal slug right here. Everyone's favorite tank. I love tanks that can jump. But this thing provides 3 hits of protection. And taking a hit right there is not too bad, because there is some gas up ahead, which will refill a little bit of that health. But the Vulcan's really good, and it also comes with a very powerful cannon, and most of the cannon ammo is going to be used on the boss fight coming up. So we're full on health again. We get to see Alan, one of our typical villains in the series. He's funny. He always taunts you. This tower fight, casually, is actually very difficult. Each part of the tower has different ways to attack you. So we're going to actually angle the tank so that we can launch the shells right at the upper parts of the tower. And we can actually damage multiple parts at the same time. And each vehicle actually also has a last-ditch attack where you just crash it into whatever's ahead. So we used that for part of the tower to get it out of the way, and then unloaded all of our grenades into the top before it could fire. And it was a very fast fight, very good. Because if you let that turret on top stay for any longer, it's very difficult to dodge the shells on top of anything else that may be alive. Alright, so another branching path right here at the beginning of Mission 3. We're going to take the top route. If you fall down, you have to climb up a long waterfall climb. And this route also gets us 2 flame shots, which will be very useful for the stage and the boss fight coming up. Flame shot is quite powerful. It does damage every frame that the flame is touching the enemy, and it ends up being like something like 25% more damage than a shotgun blast. It's very good. So we want to conserve as much of this as possible. So we're just going to play this part mostly pacifist and just kind of try and get around everything while eliminating missiles. It also has one of my favorite parts right here. You just ride the logs down. Just watch everything get run over and watch these amazing animations. I love this game's animations. And we're already at the boss. Pretty short when you take that route. So we're going to activate this prisoner while the boss is rolling up. Nice way to save a couple seconds there. We're going to unload all the grenades. We're just going to manipulate the copter to not move too much, and we can stay close with the flame shot. Nice shot! Managed to kill the boss right before we hit the blade. An excellent quick kill right there. You also got to see General Morden for just a bit. We'll see him a little bit later in the game. He never stays away. Alright, Mission 4 is very scarce on grenades. We're actually not going to be picking any up, so we're going to actually take the walking machine right here. So unlike most of the typical vehicles, the walking machine does not offer any kind of protection. So if you get hit, you're dead. But it does come with its own Vulcan cannon, which is nice. And it's actually elevated slightly off the ground, so any bombs that roll will actually pass right under you, which is a neat little quirk. I'm gonna take the top route again right here. This goes up to the zombie route, which is pretty fast. The bottom goes to the mummy route, which is cool, but very, very slow. We want to be careful not to get hit by zombie spit at all. The animation for turning into a zombie when you get spit on is very slow, and being a zombie is cool with the blood attack, but it's also incredibly dangerous since you are terribly slow. You're also seeing these badges along the way. They aren't really used much in runs. They're more for scoring since they start a combo. But whenever you pick up a badge, you actually do get a little bit of invincibility time, so you can use that time to jump into a set of enemies while it's active. So already at the boss here, we've got another flame shot. This one's not too bad to deal with a flame shot. We're going to stand right in front of the launcher right here. We can deal with both the missile that fires out of the front as well as these copter bombs that would drop zombie spit on you. But we get rid of the boss before we run out of ammo, before anything becomes a problem. Alright, so mission 5 is a little tricky. This introduces pirates. The pirates have very, very fast melee attacks. They don't look terribly fast, but the hitboxes of them are a bit ridiculous, especially for the ones that charge. So we're going to try and avoid as much close quarters combat as possible with them. Grab a rocket launcher for later, just so we can have a little bit extra firepower. We're going to take the bottom route here. This is going to be the last path split for the run. There are no path splits in the last mission. So this elevator fight is a lot more simple than going the other way. And we also get a super grenade, which is pretty useful for the next screen coming up. So we're going to use our taser melee to just kind of knock the soldiers out. We can use the rocket launcher on the more dangerous enemies. Yeah, because without extra firepower, this part can get really scary. The tank, you have to duck under the shots to not get hit, but if the enemy soldiers are rolling bombs at the same time, then you can end up in a pretty unwinnable situation, so very nicely handled. So we've got our super grenade, fires straight ahead, but it has a huge blast radius in a vertical column. Don't really get to see too much use of that property of it in 4, but the extra firepower is still very nice. So we're going to go ahead and step out on the deck right here and deal with a bunch of pirates, a couple more tanks with the super grenades. And I believe we will see an intentional death right here. Yeah, we're going to take an intentional death because we don't have any bombs here, so we're actually going to respawn with 10 extra bombs. Get a rocket launcher. Also going to recruit Hayukataro, kind of the mainstay characters of the series. He shoots some fireballs, which aren't too damaging, but the extra firepower is always good to just deal with the copters. Have to be very careful. Yakata's being very careful to manage space because falling in between those crates is a death. And it's very easy to get trapped. Rescue one more prisoner for an extra machine gun right here. Hey, look, it's the Blimp of Doom in the back. How the heck is that thing still flying anyways? Well, unfortunately, it sunk our ship. So we just have this sub to deal with. This fight's not too bad. If you get on the ship, the only thing you have to really worry about are the homing missiles it fires. And you can shoot those down. So Yakata's gonna may stay up there. Looks like we're actually just getting the cannon over and over. Oh, that's actually quite nice. Yeah, just having the cannon fire over and over, don't even have to worry about the missiles. Great fight. Yeah, I didn't see that strap before. Just letting the cannon fire over and over. Okay, so this is the last mission of the game, and it's quite a long one, as is pretty typical for Metal Slug games. We do not want to die before the last boss at all, because grenade count is very important, and fortunately we actually picked up that bomb, which we don't really want yet. So I'm not sure what it's going to do coming up when the firebomb comes in. Firebomb are like Molotov cocktails, and they have a nice area of effect when they detonate and hit the ground, but they do less damage than normal grenades. And unfortunately, we can no longer change to the regular grenades because we picked up the bomb power-up early. So we're going to have to deal with this, and it's going to get a little scary now at the end of the game since we're not going to have as much damage. And the only way to reset this would be to die and lose our additional grenades, and we don't want to do that. That being said, this level does have plenty of extra weapons. We're going to carry this flame shot for a bit. Yeah, we're going to try and play through most of this level pacifist. Most of this level is just, you have challenge rooms being separated by these walkways going down. So you can run past or jump past most enemies. And we want to conserve that flame shot for these rooms where we have tanks and other stuff to deal with. Very nice room. And we will spend the time to get these bombs here. Still worth it even with the long animation time for the switch. Like I will say, the final boss, you want as many bombs as possible because it gets dicey if it's on screen for very long. Barely avoided that heavy machine gun right there. We do not want to switch weapons right now. That would have been a disaster for this room. So we're going to pick up that laser in just a second. This is the only one we're going to grab in the run. Laser's pretty solid, has good DPS, and it's going to be useful for the boss fight coming up. And we're also going to go ahead and pick up this metal slug here for some extra firepower. The cannon's really good at getting around some of the shields. And we want to conserve our laser anyway, so the Vulcan takes care of most of the stuff here. Also going to see one last new type of enemy right here. We have Robomordens. So they have to be killed twice, and then you have to actually destroy the head, since the head is still active. But there's a neat strat right here for this last set of Robomordens. We're going to use the cannons to shoot off the bodies, and then we're going to use the dash attack right there and just crash everything. Really good way to get rid of the heads and advance quickly. And we're going to rescue the president right here. Get a couple more rewards. He gives us one last stack of bombs and a bullet refill. So now we've got almost 300 laser power, which is really, really handy for endgame. So we've got basically 2 bosses and then an extra 3-boss fight after. This is Alan. The Alan fight is very scripted if you know what to do. He's very position-based. He reacts on where you are. Oh, look, it's Robo-Alan. So we're just going to keep him in a loop. Very nice loop right there. And that brings us to the 3-part final boss. I'm not sure what he's going to do with this, considering we have firebombs and not regular grenades, so we're going to be doing less damage with them. So I don't know what Yukata's got planned for that, but I'm sure he'll do fine. So this first phase is pretty easy. Both of these first 2 phases, the claw can damage you if you are too close to the robot, so you need to stand in a very particular spot so you avoid everything else while not getting grabbed. So we exhaust all our laser right here. We actually get to explain one last mechanic that's pretty typical in the Metal Slug series. Since we have the handgun, you can actually fire the handgun and throw grenades, for that matter, faster when you're crouched than if you are standing straight up. So there's basically no cap on... no cap right here. Oh, only getting a chaser. We're going to try and farm these satellites, it looks like, see if we can get a bomb drop instead of being forced to use firebombs, because we do not want to use firebombs on less plus. There's a bomb. So not only do we have 10 extra bombs, now we're back to regular bombs. So now we have the normal damage from our grenades, we can do the fast strat for the fight. So, you see we have 64 grenades. This is going to be just barely enough to destroy the boss. So, very nice fight. And if we did not get that bomb drop while farming in the second phase, we could have also used our last life, sacrificed our last life to get 10 extra. So, time's already stopped at this point. It looks like they stopped timer at the final boss death. There is one little bonus sequence right here where you escape the exploding base. You can be in the explosion, and you'll get a slightly different ending than if you manage to escape. It doesn't really matter for a run. But we'll go ahead and escape just for a little extra swag. And see all the lag. The Neo Geo doing its best to keep up. But hey, that is Metal Slug 4. I hope you enjoyed this run right here by Yokata. Really, really great series. I do recommend getting into it if you like running guns. And of course, there are just many, many, many great things about the entire series, like playing for time or playing for score attack. Like, it's a fun time, no matter which game you pick. So 1707 is quite good. Congrats to him. That's quite speedy. And getting the 1cc is great. We get the end on a nice feast. Just Tarma and Eri just feed our heroes as they become fat. It's unfortunate we didn't get to see the fat transformation in this run. But that's going to do it for me. Thank y'all for having me for Metal Slug commentary. Please donate to Doctors Without Borders if you can. It's always a great cause. my best whoa big. Whoa big! But that's going to do it for me. I hope y'all enjoyed. Definitely stay tuned for Alta 4. It looks like Serenade Yuki's going to be running, and Sawayoshi's going to be commentating for the English restream. So, y'all have a great time. Thanks for having me aboard. 成仏さんの動画をもとに RTA In Japan に出てで世界一取っているわけです。なので成仏さんとは実はもう私が小さい頃からすでにもう間接的に出会っているというわけです。成仏さん見ているでしょうか。あなたのおかげで私は今ここにいます。ありがとうございます。まあとりあえず私はこんな感じなんで、あとはですね明日は私の実の弟ですよ。本当の弟ですよ。本当の弟がメタルスラッグ WX で走ります。いやーもうなんかね去年の RTA In Japan はね偶然で兄弟で出てしまったんですけど今年も出てしまうことになってしまいました。世界記録兄弟と呼ばれているように私もメタルスラッグ4の世界記録持って、弟もメタルスラッグ WX の世界記録保持者でございます。ちなみに私あれですね世界記録他にメタルスラッグ5とかバーニングファイトとかプリルラとか持ってますね。とりあえず今日は本当に無事に走ることができてよかったです。メタルスラッグ4を開発してくださった、スタッフの方々非常にありがとうございます。今もこうやってアーケードアーカイブス移植してくれてるおかげで私はこうやって遊んで RTA 走ることができます。本当に感謝しかないです。RTA In Japan の、上の皆様もありがとうございます。私は、十分に練習することができたおかげでこうやって走ることができました。というわけでエンディングも終了でございます。まだまだ RTA In Japan は続きますので、引き続きよろしくお願いいたします。それではメタルスラッグ4奏者の館でした。ありがとうございました。